I am muted. And so the whole thing in the beginning was probably muted and you couldn't hear me. You have to love when those things happen. Shout out to everybody watching in Europe. This is the daily, the daily mastermind. I went through the whole thing and you probably missed it. Today, episode 2, we are here to discuss the purpose of life and the meaning of why we are all here. The show is designed to help everybody that engages to learn about the mind and how we can master this thing between our eyes and our skull, and how we can live our best lives by learning these things. We're going to be using the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, the Stoics, philosophy, and other well-known authors about wonderful books on how to engage our minds. We have a couple of guests coming in today. I will be introducing them in a little bit to help us have this conversation. Whatever platform it is that you're watching on, please be sure to follow, subscribe, like, subscribe, whatever it is on whatever platform, follow and engage. This is for you to be able to grow as best you can. Marcus Aurelius told us the purpose for everybody is to wake up every day and go about the business of being a human being. That being said, we all are communal people by nature. We all come from a place of community. You hear often the term, I came into this world alone, I'll go out of this world by myself, so that's why I'm here. And that is not the case, because when you were born, there was at least 2 other people that helped you come into this world. And when you die, there's going to be a lot more than that to help you, because you can't put yourself in the dirt. So nobody comes into this world alone. We're all community-based people. We need other people to thrive. And one of the things that I love most about Marcus Aurelius and what he said is your purpose is in front of you, which is to make the most of your present. Yesterday was a memory. Tomorrow is a fantasy. We live for today. Today is what we have to focus on, our present right now, because that is where our future is. Your present will always gift you with an opportunity to find your purpose. If you keep that in the forefront of your mind, you're going to have a lot more fulfillment in your life, and you'll be able to navigate through life not worrying about what has happened or what will happen. It's about focusing on right now. If you can focus on this hour, the next 1 hour of your life, and put everything you have into that 1 hour, whatever your task is at hand, you'll be able to focus and get more out of it. I'm getting a phone call. Let me hang that up real quick. Our purpose in life is also to add value. You want to be a value creator. We want to add value. The best way to make your dreams become reality is to help other people, those people that are in your life, help as many people as you can realize their mountaintops. Help them to find the best way to make the most out of their life. And you are going to make your own dreams become a reality. It's an amazing concept when we think in a communal sense, as opposed to being individuals. We need other people to survive. We need other people to thrive. And we need other people to find that purpose and to have that value in life. To add value is to find other people and help add value to their lives, which will in turn add value to your life. So to talk more about this subject, I'm going to bring in retired Chief U.S. Navy veteran Carl Blea, and hear some of his amazing stories in his life and what the purpose of life means to him. So everybody that is tuned in, please do me a favor and help me welcome to the Daily Mastermind, Carl Blea.
Hey guys.
Carl, how you doing, my friend? It's good to see you.
Likewise.
You are a retired U.S. Navy chief, right?
Yes, I am.
Tell us a little bit about that and how about your time in the Navy.
Well, my experience extends from as a young child. I didn't really know what I wanted. All I knew was I wanted to be connected with other people. Ever since I was a kid, I connected with everybody and I just wanted to love them. And so my purpose is always to love and to be a part of something greater than myself, which led me to realize that I was in a dark place when I was a kid. And so I opened up to that and realized that I needed to get out of my environment. So I joined the Navy, and that was my journey to serve and to realize that I served my country, and was very successful at it, because no matter what, it wasn't about me. It was about service to my country and to people. Even though there was a lot of other stuff that didn't make sense, It was always about the greater whole of people in my life, that if I help them, they help me to succeed. And through my 20-year journey, it really allowed me to be the person I am today. Although it made me realize there's certain things that traits about myself that I didn't look at. I always just looked at the good and I didn't look at the bad. So the purpose is to really be your authentic self and really be true to yourself, because the problem is sometimes we paint a different picture. And the purpose is, for me, is just to really be my authentic self, because the minute you lie to yourself, you're lying to other people. And then
Ooh,
then the reality becomes is that we are no longer ourselves.
right.
And then that's just an escape from our reality, an escape from the other person's reality, because now they're thinking this other thing, but you're creating your own reality because you're not being here centered with yourself.
To quote a wonderful bass playing man, Cliff Burton, from the late great Cliff Burton from Metallica, when a man lies, he destroys a part of the world. I love
Wow.
that you say that. Authenticity, I think, is
Ugh.
it's the lack of authenticity. Inauthenticity is a destructive force, because you're right. If you're inauthentic with somebody else, other people don't have an opportunity to be their own authentic selves. We have a natural ability to sniff out fakeness or inauthenticity, and that would naturally put us on the defensive. So, how long were you in the Navy?
20 years.
20 years.
Yes.
That is incredible. Thank you so much for your service. By the
Welcome.
way, if you could put it down into one sentence about what kind of purpose you derived from your time in the service of the Navy, what would you say that would be?
Uh, Putting myself last, putting everybody first, and making sure that always took care of everybody. And to whatever extent, because I think as humans, we don't like to focus on ourselves. We'd rather, at least this is by my experience, is that we focus on other people. So that way we don't have to focus on other things, the stories we tell. I went to the gym yesterday. I'm listening to people. They're telling people's story about other people, but rather than focusing on what they're working out on themselves,
Right.
living in the moment, as you say, we are constantly battled with these stories of the past that really, or other people's lives, because our life is somehow boring and stagnant. So we're
Sure.
incorporating that. So I think that our journey is to really stay focused with ourselves and try to help people. But the reality is what I finally realized at this age is that we can try to influence. That's all we have the ability to, and be the example, and hope that other people that come into our lives see that we're the example. Because I want to put my power in. I just want to change people. If I just love you enough, you're going to change. Or if I can just show you this much, I know you can do this for yourself. No, that's not a reality. And that was a reality that I finally had to accept for myself.
Well, that falls into the three phases of what we control in life. There's what we control, what we can't control, and what we can influence.
Yeah.
You can influence, but you can't control the way someone else is going to receive whatever it is that you're putting out. You can't control somebody else's opinions. All you can do is try to influence, and that's an amazing thing. We're going to have so much more with Carl coming up in the future, and it's going to be an incredible journey. You have so much wisdom to give, and I absolutely love the way you laid down your purpose and what we can do to find purpose. I want to expound on this, and to do that, we're going to bring in an amazing young lady. Most of you already know her, but for those of you that don't, I want you guys to please welcome the founder and creator of Itopia Coaching, Claire Rogers.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello. Hey, Carl.
I happen to know this young lady just a little bit, and we're going to do that. Claire, please introduce yourself and tell the people what you do and where you're from and all that wonderful stuff.
Oh my God, you have hours. Okay, Reader's Digest version. Let's discuss the accent. I've got a dodgy accent because I was born in England, raised in Canada, lived in England for 21 years, and now I'm in good old America. So I've got a weird accent happening. So my background basically is I have been a jack of all trades. I have been a model. I was a director at an American Fortune 500 company, actually Fortune 100 company, sales target of 2 billion a year. I have been tour managers for famous musicians. A jack of all trades per se, and now I live in Palm Springs, California, and that's a very short Reader's Digest version because you need to interview me properly if you want the whole story. So.
Facts. So now you've heard the conversation thus far as it goes. What is your input on what Carl and I brought about the purpose of life, and what do you have to add?
I would say so. I learned the meaning of life the hard way. It was a great question that I pondered from, I think, since I was a little child. I've always been a very serious soul. I'm an empath. I'm a highly sensitive person. And based on my childhood as well, I evolved to be a very sensitive person to the point that when I became an adult, I became a people-pleasing type A personality workhorse that just, trucked along in life and so forth. And I didn't realize the meaning of life. I was constantly searching for it. And I felt like I didn't belong in this world, if that makes sense. The world felt like it was just too overwhelming. And the core values that I found people embracing, it didn't relate to me. And so I always felt that I was kind of an outsider in this world. And I wasn't living my purpose per se. And I didn't realize this until I found myself curled up on my bathroom floor at age 40, suffering from a panic attack. And I then suffered from panic attacks and depression for 18 months and had panic attacks every single day. And I'm now able to look back on that and go, the worst period of my life turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. And I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I went through. But it made me realize the meaning of life. And for me, I came to realize that the reason why I had had those panic attacks and was suffering from depression is because I was living out of alignment with what my purpose in life should be. So I believe the purpose in life is that we come to Earth School. I call it Earth School. We
I
come
like
to
that.
Earth School to share our story, to share our life experiences, and to rise one another up. And so that's personally is my meaning of life. I think we're here not to judge one another. We live in a very divisive world. I don't believe in that. Even if somebody has different politics to me or different life beliefs, I still don't believe in judging because I believe that we're all here to listen to one another. We're all here. We all want to be validated. We all want to be heard. We all want to be loved. So I think we're here to share our life stories and to just be good human beings and rise one another up. And that for me is the meaning of life.
I like it.
Awesome.
Carl, for both of you, Marcus Aurelius comments about the work of a human being, that we all should get up every day, get out of bed, and pursue the work of a human being. What do you think he meant in that statement of the work of a human being, Carl?
I think what I realized, loving yourself, not being hard on yourself, compassion with yourself. Because at the end of the day, no matter where I go, no matter how much love I want from other people, I find that it's right here. You talked about how we are not alone, that there's the outer, but we're not alone because we have our space within our spiritual. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. At the end of the day, we're all interconnected. But the thing is that sometimes we get disconnected by our true being because we get connected with another ego. And then the egos play out with any relationship or with any friendship or with anything. I call that and so egos get together rather than spiritual beings. And then it's just a hot mess from there. And that's what I've experienced in my life is that I have always stayed true to myself. But the minute I go to someone else's ego, then my ego appears. And then it's just a shitstorm. And I don't want to live my life like that. And so right now I'm in the storm. I'm where you were when you were 40. My life has really been uprooted because I stepped into my uncertainty. Mm-hmm. I was used to certainty my whole life, the military, my 14-year relationship. And at some point you have to own your own shit and you have to, excuse my language, but it comes down to really truthfully loving yourself. And then from there, hopefully being being able to draw those boundaries and love yourself. And I'm doing that with my friends, my family, and just being really open, because that's the journey to once connect it with self, with your true self, and accepting people for who they are, and just love. I really truly believe loving yourself will send that energy to everybody else. And every single day I come in contact with people, I just want to love them and hug them and just kiss them, because that's what we're meant to be. And I think that's from a non-judgment space. And most of my friends, everything that's happening in my life right now, my sister's going, all my friends and family that I love, we're all going through our own journey, but all we can do is be there for them. My whole life, I just want to get them and shake them, and they want to do the same thing for me. But they're like, okay, we just got to step back. This is Carl's journey, and we're going to be there for him. No matter what, we're going to love and support him, and we're going to be there for him. That's it. And so that's my journey in supporting the people that I allow into my life and that I want into my life. Non-judgment, just love them and accept them for who they are. That's
nice. Clara, what do you think on the work of being a human being? What do you think?
I think a big problem is that from birth, we are trained through social conditioning to forget ourselves. I mean, and to a degree, we need to be conditioned, right? To a degree, we have to be good human beings and so forth. But I think from a very young age, we're told to forget who we innately are. We are told to embrace the core values of our parents, for example, or the adults in the room and so forth. We're told, perhaps, maybe not so much now, but back in the day, for me, I was born in the 70s, we're told what we should study. We were basically told, get good grades, work really hard, and then go get a job and work as hard as you can, buy a place. And then when you're 65, you can retire and enjoy your life. And so we are socially conditioned to follow this. And I'm calling bullshit on it, because I did all that and I was miserable. Externally, I had all the stuff, but inside, I was dying inside. I was working between 12 and 15 hours a day. If you'd said to me, Claire, what did you do last week? I'd have to look at my diary and go, yeah, last week I was working in Spain. I was living in autopilot mode. So I think what's happened is that we're all socially conditioned from a young age to follow the American dream. And I don't mean America per se. This is everywhere in the world, and at least in every Western country, I believe. We're all told to do this. And I think it's wrong. I think education has something to do with it as well. We're all told you got to get straight A's and so forth. Well, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we should go to schools, and maybe some kids are going to be really great at art, or some are going to be good at maths, or some are going to be good at gymnastics, for example. So maybe we need to do some form of creative learning where kids are learning at their own pace. I think as well, we need to be teaching kids from a little age mindfulness and emotional intelligence, and embrace those core values rather than the core values of make lots of money and get ahead. I'm not saying that money is bad, and I'm not saying that working to get ahead is bad, but if it's at the price of who you are innately, that's where I think we fall down.
I agree 100%. And I love that. Storm of Irons just dropped a comment that I'd like to get both of your guys' opinions on here. Storm of Irons, great friend of mine, highly intelligent individual. He'll be coming on the show from time to time, so I'm sure we'll be having conversations with him. He says, traditions can be shackles to unhealthy practices, even if it's presented with good intentions. What are your thoughts on that? Claire, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, to a degree, we do need social conditioning. Of course, we have to be taught from right from wrong and so forth. Absolutely. I 100% understand. But where it becomes a shackle is when we tell our kids, you have to work really hard and you have to get really good grades. And if said kid doesn't get really good grades because that learning environment does not work for them, it's not conducive to their minds, we then punish our kids, either physically or emotionally, and we tell them that they're not good enough and so forth. And so that's where I think the shackles come in. The same with we're told that we need to go and get a really good job or a really good education, and we come out 100 grand in debt, and then we get the really good job. And it's not what we want to do in life, but we do it because we think that that's what we're supposed to do. That's where it becomes a shackle. And so I think we need to break those shackles and not necessarily embrace the material tangible things, which again are not bad things. But if we do a career just to get those external things and to keep up with the Joneses per se, because everybody else is around us, that's where it becomes a shackle, I believe.
Carl, what do you think?
Yeah, there's this thing called we get domesticated, and then what ends up happening is we become we self domesticate ourselves. So whatever we're taught, we continue to do that exact same behavior. I was talking to my cousin the other day, and she's like, "I've been this way. Our family's been this way." I was like, "Yes, but you at any point you could change it." She has a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old that don't respect her one bit whatsoever. And
That's
I
rough.
try to empower her by influencing her. But there again, all I can do is influence. And I use that analogy that you gave me the other day about how you write your obituary. And I said, have your kids write the obituary. And what would mom say about you? What would dad say about you? And she's not going to do it,
I'm
unfortunately.
a huge proponent of writing your own obituary. I
And
think it's one of the most profound things people can do. Carl, I'd like you to address this question, and then Claire as well. Is it okay to be happy with who you are, or should you always pursue progress? That's a good question. Straw Jack. Shout out to Straw
Really good
Jack.
question.
you should always run after progress. I think it's constantly changing. I think that we are, as human beings, are constantly evolving into hopefully better human beings. And so you have to just be better. And I think a lot of us, sometimes there's this dark space. And what I finally learned is that you have to learn to be comfortable with it, comfortable with that anxiety, comfortable with that, because eventually it will dissolve. But sometimes you want to run away from it. And I'm learning to just be comfortable with it. Say, I'm okay with you here, but I know you're going away, and work on myself and meditate and mindlessness, and it will go away. I had agoraphobia. I was in the military, and I had this agoraphobia where I was fear of people. And I was with 1,000 people, and I would get these anxiety attacks. And luckily I had a friend there that I could go there, and she would be my safe space. And so we all have these things that attack us, but then we have to figure out that balance with ourselves.
100%. Babe, what do you think? Should we be happy? Is it okay to be happy with ourselves, or should we always pursue progress?
I think it's both. I think we need to be happy with who we are. We need to love ourselves every single day, no matter what situation you find yourself in. You need to love yourself every day. However, for me personally, I believe that we should work on evolving ourselves as individuals and as human beings, because that makes us better human beings. And so even if we meet a difficult person, or somebody who challenges us, or who doesn't have the same core values, or maybe has different political beliefs, or whatever it is, rather than get irritated and allow our ego to take over, we should look to ourselves and say, how can we learn from this experience? Because this person has been brought into my life for this experience for a reason. So how can I learn from this and become a better person for it?
Facts. There's some really good comments that are taking place here too. We can't elaborate on all of them, but make sure you guys come and join the Facebook group, the Daily Mind Masters, for more interaction over there, polls, and the discussions will continue over there. Nick Wilbur said something here that I think is profound here. He said, I have had a university education, but never did anything with it. I am a doctor in chemical engineering, but my brothers and parents basically abandoned me for that. And that did hurt for a long time. What advice, in closing, we're gonna get ready to wrap this up, but in closing, Carl, what advice would you give to somebody like Nick Wilbers, who's got a university education? He's a doctor in chemical engineering.
I'm the opposite. I don't have a degree. I went to join the military at an early age. I was never focused. I was all over the place. We are not our past. And we, unfortunately, whatever happened back then, and whatever, I don't have a degree at it, but I want to have an amazing future for myself. For the first time in my life, he gets to choose to let go or hold on to that story. We all have stories, but the reality is do you want to live that story, or, like you say, live in the moment? And the hardest thing for me today is to stay present and know that this future, and having both of you right here, right now with me, I am super grateful that you brought me into this energy, because I know there's going to be lots of great things that are happening. And all I know is that to him, it's all about being present and letting go of that story and forgiving that part of your life.
Carl said we can
and live it.
choose to live the story or let the story. Fantastic. Babe, what would you say to Nick Wilbers?
I would say to Nick, at the end of the day, it's your life. It's my life. It's Sonny's life. It's Carl's life. We do not have to. And again, this comes down to social conditioning. We feel as though we need to apologize for our life and our life choices. And my thoughts are, so long as you're not hurting anybody, do whatever you want and you don't need to explain yourself. I've been through a similar situation. I went through a divorce last year, lost every single friend I have, or I think I've got a handful left, but I lost everybody because everybody judged me. And I had to keep pushing through saying, at the end of the day, it's my life and it's your life too. You can do whatever you want with your education. So long as we are not hurting anybody, live your life. And we need to stop apologizing for our life choices.
Facts. Last thing we're going to talk on before we end the show. Regis 80 is a longtime viewer of all the things that I've done, has an incredible story himself, and I love what he says here. I've learned that help from others is a great thing, but what is a greater feeling is for others to get my help. I didn't see it like that during my anxiety and depression I had. What a great statement. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think that there's more? And I mean, obviously, we all know that helping other people is a greater thing than helping ourselves. But do you think there is something to what Reeves has said that getting help feels pretty good too, right? Like we have to be open to receiving help as well as also as giving. I do my best to help every day, but I think we also have to be receptive of help that comes in, right?
We do.
Yes, and that's something that's hard for me because as an empath, my nature is I want to help everybody, but I suck at asking for help back. But I read a great book and I can't remember the name of it. Apologies. But basically, if you do not give somebody the opportunity to help you, or if you deflect a compliment, you actually rob that person of doing something nice and them feeling good about themselves.
Facts.
Yeah, that's fun.
Well, you know what? It's been a great show. Carl, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for your service. Claire, thank you for stopping by and giving us some of your wisdom. What I'm going to do here is what I used to do on an old show that I used to have. I love to leave people with something positive to take with them. I want them to take something to carry out, think about throughout the day. So I'm going to give each of you the floor and just tell people something positive, something you'd like them to know, something you'd like them to hear so that they can take that with them for the rest of the day until tomorrow. Carl, I'm gonna put you on the spot, let you go first.
Remember that you are your own archangel of your thoughts and of your words. So just take care of yourself with that thought.
Love it. Beautiful. Babe, get them.
You matter. I want you to know that you matter, that no matter what you're going through, whether it's anxiety, depression, happiness, whatever it may be, I just want you to know that you matter. That's a really important thing, especially people who suffer from mental health challenges. You can tend to think that you're all alone and that you have no right to those feelings. I want you to know that you matter. And people like me, who even though I may not know you, I'm rooting for you.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you guys so much. Listen, change is imminent. Change is every single day. Life is about change. Nothing stays the same. You have to embrace that change. If we had no change, life would be stagnant. Everything changes. The wind changes, the weather changes, your food changes, your diet changes, your body weight changes. There is nothing in life that does not change. Embrace that change and learn how to work with the universe as opposed to working in opposition to it. You'll find so much more fulfillment. I want to thank both Carl and Claire for joining us today. And I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. We are here to try to help everybody, not only give you wisdom to help master your mind, but for all of us to grow and work and live together to do the work of a human being, as Marcus Aurelius has quoted. Thank you guys all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys tomorrow right back here, 9 a.m. on the Daily Mastermind. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.